What's up, everybody? Welcome into Hoops 360. I hope everyone had a very merry and very fun, very safe Christmas and holiday season. And we are approaching 2026 so rapidly. So today is a very special 2025 wrapped edition of the program. We will go back and take a look at the biggest, most fun, most impactful, most unforgettable moments of the 2025 year that was women's basketball. WNBA, unrivaled, the NCAA season, some action on and off the court. She's Cassandra Negley. I am Caroline Fenton. So Cass, let's get into it. Let's break down the best things that we saw in 2025. But before we do that, I have to remind everybody that you can send in any questions that you might have right here to hoops360@yahoosports.com. So we'll get to as many of your questions, comments, concerns. You have a problem with what we had to say in the pod, let us know. If we missed something from our top 5 moments from this past year in women's basketball, let us know. Leave a comment down below. And of course, send it to hoops360@yahoosports.com. Cass, let's walk down memory lane a little bit. We each picked independently. We do not know what each other's top 5 moments are. And that was by design. We wanted to be totally authentically surprised on the show. So Cass, I will give you the reins. We'll go 5-1. Your fifth favorite moment from women's basketball this past year.
So there were no parameters on this.
None.
I'm going to start really dramatic in my ranking. Coming in at number 5, Cheryl Reeve's ejection and crash out.
Yes.
In the WNBA playoffs.
Yes.
That had been building. It was a moment that will live in WNBA lore. Like, I think about it in terms of certain big time ejections, or like Diana Taurasi kissing Simone Augustus. Like, those things keep popping up. I think this is going to keep popping up. And I will never forget sitting in the Fever media room, watching this with other reporters, kind of just unbelievable that she was thrown. Unbelievable she came in and said everything that she did. Days later, Napheesa Collier comes out and goes scorched earth on the WNBA. You have the highly anxiety-inducing address by Cathy Engelbert at the finals, which was just more stressful than usual. We will never be able to talk about the 2025 playoffs without that, like, 1 week span.
It was a domino effect of one thing was more juicy and wild and crazy than the other. I mean, and Cheryl Reeve did the thing that's like the biggest no-no in the coach's press conference handbook. You don't just go scorched earth on officiating. You don't even nitpick or critique officiating. She straight up was like, the league needs to do something about this. League leadership needs to get involved. This officiating is a disgrace. And I think in that moment, we were all like, that's correct, Cheryl. You are correct. You are saying the quiet thing out loud. I love that. And my number 5 moment is very similar to yours. I think it's a good jumping off point for my number 5 moment. And that is the way that the entire world united around Napheesa Collier and everything that she had to say about Cathy Engelbert. She kind of gave a peek behind the curtain of whether it's true or not. She said it, some private conversations that she had with Cathy Engelbert, of Cathy saying, Caitlin Clark should be lucky for what the W is bringing her. All of these very damning comments that Napheesa Collier had to say about Cathy Engelbert and about the league as a whole. Just that day on Twitter. I think there's just like the elite all-time days on the social media. The day like Scottie Scheffler got arrested, all-time great Twitter day. No, the day of Napheesa Collier's exit meetings, all-time great Twitter day. Because it's very rare when you get a moment in women's basketball that takes the entire sports world by a storm. And this did. And it was just a blast. It was very fun.
Yeah, we're talking about top moments in women's basketball. And that was something that broke through women's basketball. Yep. It was a lot.
It was a good day. And now we're here, and we are still negotiating the WNBA CBA, at least at the time that we are recording. Okay, Cass, number 4, what you got?
Number 4. So I'm going to go way back to February. Caitlin Clark's jersey retirement at Iowa. Her and her family were seated in kind of the media seating. It happened to be directly in front of me. Like, Caitlin and Connor are in front of me. And this is kind of a heartwarming one. it is something I will never forget to watch this young 20-something and her family, like people that she has spoken so glowingly about, just enjoy a basketball game. Like, just be fans, right? They were into it. She was standing and cheering. Like, they were talking about certain calls in hushed tones so that we couldn't hear. But then to see like her jersey retired so quickly, everything she's meant to the game recently. This was a game that also had Juju Watkins and USC. And there were a lot of fans talking about just the get-in price to see this game have Juju and Caitlin in the same house, which is going to be a while until that happens in the WNBA. That was just a special moment. And of course, also Iowa upset USC, which added just a level of excitement to it and a lot more going on.
It was such a special moment. I always feel like, big monumental things like that. Like it's a statue, a jersey retirement, a number retirement, a Hall of Fame bid, whatever it might be. I always say sometimes things have to take time. And if you're going to be forever enshrined in the history of a certain program or organization, you have to make sure that you stand the test of time. I had zero issue with Caitlin Clark's jersey being retired then and there. I would have had zero issue if Caitlin Clark's jersey was retired after the national championship in her very last game as an Iowa Hawkeye. I mean, what she's done for that program, what she's done for women's basketball in general, it's incredible to see. So to be there in the house, Cass, that's unreal. Like, that's going to be one of those stories, I'm sure, whenever you're very successful and retired and your writing days are behind you, you look back on as a career highlight.
Yes, absolutely. And to be in Iowa, I've spent so much time in that arena now. Like, the most striking thing is how you have 15,000 people or whatever a sellout is. It is all Iowa colors. There are no visiting fans. I'm not sure that I saw a Watkins jersey. Maybe I did. But you saw like every Caitlin Clark jersey that you could ever imagine seeing. It was just a heartfelt moment. Very cool. And certainly to have USC there, and they stayed and they watched it. And for Lindsay Gottlieb to talk afterward just about how they view it through also the lens of like Juju and having that experience with her as kind of this larger than life basketball personality. I think very emblematic of where we are in 2025.
100%. I think we're kind of aligned very well in the way that we ranked ours, because mine's a little mushy-gushy as well. The way that Paige Bueckers ended her collegiate career, her storybook ending, it was so strange to see. And strange, I don't mean in a mean way, but to see UConn emerge as like the fan favorite, plucky Cinderella story was so kind of wild to see. And I think everybody was rooting just a little bit for Paige to have that cherry on top of her collegiate career. And of course, if you're a Texas fan, South Carolina fan, UCLA fan, of course you wanted your team to win. But Paige, after having the career that she had, freshman of the year, and then she had the ankle injury, and then she had the knee surgery that left her out for the entirety of a season. To see Paige, a player that was on the top of the basketball world, get knocked down several times, for UConn to be in a quote-unquote championship drought, because several years without a championship is a drought whenever you're in Storrs, Connecticut.
It was 9.
So yeah, that's a long time by Gino years. It's like dog years. They just work different. But to see Paige and that team as a whole, to see AZ come back and be such a massive part of that postseason squad. You see Sarah Strong as a true freshman step up and be huge in the Final Four. And you see Paige finish out her career the way that Caitlin Clark couldn't. And I hate that Caitlin Clark could never call herself a national champion, but it felt like it was just such the best kind of karma and the best kind of, pretty little bow on top of Paige Bueckers' storied college career that she got to go out as a national champion. It was very special. And to be there was very cool as well.
Yes. Little teaser, we're going to put a pin in that. And I'm going to jump to number 3.
Please, by all means.
Okay. Number 3, Tennessee's first season under Kim Caldwell.
Ooh, yes.
This was just fun. This was exciting. They were never out of a game. Like, it felt very much to me like watching Caitlin Clark in Iowa, and like different styles of play, don't get me wrong. But when you're watching Tennessee and they're down by 25 and it's like the third quarter, like I'm not changing the channel. Like, I'm keeping it on. They are going to come back. They had that upset against UConn, which was very significant this year. I think in general, the Lady Vols remaining as like a powerhouse in college basketball is very important. You know, for them to remain competitive, it's important for the sport. There's a lot of history there. We've had others come up, South Carolina, but like to have that Tennessee UConn tension, I love it. I like what Kim Caldwell has done so far there. Very, very young first year, but it was just a lot of fun. And I like hockey, so hockey subs I'm all for.
It's hockey on hardwood. It is overwhelming in the best possible way to watch Kim Caldwell style. It's fun. If nothing else, it's just an engaging brand of basketball. Like you can never really relax too much. You're always on the edge of your seat. There's constant motion. It's like an ADHD person's dream to watch Kim Caldwell style of basketball. It is so fun to watch. And I also think women's basketball is better when Tennessee is good. Like Tennessee is a blue blood program. You go back to the Tennessee and UConn rivalries, the Candace Parker days. Of course, Pat Summitt is a legend and on the Mount Rushmore of women's college basketball figureheads. So when Tennessee is nationally relevant and good and competitive, and obviously playing in a conference that's deep and competitive, the sport's just better. I will continue my Paige theme, though, from my number 4 and roll that into number 3. Maybe this is awfully specific. My number 3 moment was when Caitlin Chen's dad came to a Dallas Wings Golden State Valkyries game. Again, Paige's team and his daughter's team. And he showed up to the game wearing a Paige Bueckers UConn jersey to his own daughter's basketball game.
I love this one.
I love Caitlin Chen's dad and his relationship with Paige Bueckers. Like Caitlin Chen posted like an Instagram dump, several photos on her Instagram page. And the last photo was like just a cutie little picture of her dad in the street. Paige commented, last pick, best pick, or something along those lines. Like Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Chen's dad has just like the sweetest relationship. Honestly, Caitlin Chen as a whole, the fact that she came to the draft to watch and support Paige and ended up getting drafted herself, and that entire UConn team just erupted. They were so happy for her. It was so sweet. I love it. I love it.
Is this a case of your favorite player's favorite player?
Yes.
So his daughter is the favorite player, but like it's her favorite player.
It's her favorite player.
Like, support the starter.
The friend of my friend is my friend.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what they say, right?
They say that, but like, do we have to believe it?
No. But for Caitlin Chen and Paige Bueckers and her dad.
Isn't it the friend of my enemy is my friend?
Well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But you could also say that the friend of my friend is my friend. Right?
Moving on.
Okay, anyways.
We're going to get to honorable mentions later, but honorable mention in the moment, Caitlin Chen being drafted. That was the second year in a row we saw it. It is always very heartwarming and very cool.
It is. Oh, it's so sweet. But Cass, we're getting into our top 2. What do you have? The number 2 moment this past year?
My number 2 moment. It is like an entire season, but I picked one play of it. The Indiana Fever winning the Commissioner's Cup and letting their celebration flow out of the locker room. The Indiana Fever season was just incredible. Much like everything on this list, we're going to remember this for a very long time. And I thought really hard about my biggest moment being them almost winning that semifinal series against the Aces, like coming so close, even though they had just lost Kelsey Mitchell. Like, holy cow. But them winning the Commissioner's Cup, at the time, they still didn't have Caitlin Clark, weren't really sure when she was going to come back. They were kind of counted out because of it. Sydney Colson played a key role. They win over the Minnesota Lynx. Like, that felt like the pressure valve was just, like, blown. Like, all of this stress released. They could kind of be themselves. They're taking kind of like, they're making some comments maybe about how some people in the league feel about them. But also, This was so important, I think, for many of us, or so special for many of us, because we do not get to see locker room celebrations anymore. There is no more access like that. And so to see them be themselves with each other, to see the relationship between Sydney and Caitlin and Sydney and others, because we had requested to talk to Sydney, like, that is special to just visually get a glimpse into a team and how much they do care for each other and what that looks like. And just to like see them celebrate in that way.
And the fact that the Fever got something tangible out of this season. I know that a Commissioner's Cup is not the same as a WNBA championship, but it's at least something that you can point to and say, we did it. And I felt like this Fever season deserved something to say, hey, like, we did it, going into the Target Center and taking down the big bad Minnesota Lynx when Minnesota was an overwhelming favorite. And Cass, we are so on the same page here because my number 2 is the Fever's postseason run.
Okay.
I mean, they had no Sophie Cunningham, no Sydney Colson, no Ari McDonald, no Caitlin Clark, and then, like you pointed out, lost Kelsey Mitchell, who had been their bell cow for a majority of this season and especially in the postseason. But to watch this team just continue to find ways to win, even when they're, down to the studs, not the stud buds, we'll get to that in a moment. But whenever they are
spoiler alert,
peek behind the curtain. But like whenever they're down to just like putting pieces together with bubble gum and masking tape, and they're still winning games, and they're still, winning games in the postseason. And the way that team, and you alluded to it as well, Cass, the relationships that team had, like the camaraderie on that team. I believe it was Sophie Cunningham that said it almost had like a college-like feel, that they were all so close. They were all so supportive that it felt like we are just like a bunch of friends. Like this is like a sisterhood, and we're also out there kicking everybody's butt in the basketball court as well. It was lovable, and it was really fun to watch. And I hated seeing the Fever season end the way that it did, even though I had counted them out every single path along the way. I was like, surely this has to be where the Fever, like things have to break down for the Fever. At some point, the Fever, like something's got to give. And it never did until it came down to the wire.
Yeah, I'll be excited in, 10, 20, 30 years to see the documentary or the book looking back on how they feel about this season with the perspective of time and like if those relationships have remained and what it really felt like to go through it in the moment, because the adversity of this season and the way that they handled it publicly when it can be very easy to break is incredible.
Especially when they went through, DeWanna Bonner leaving the team, and a lot of players had come out and said that we didn't know what was going on. We didn't get a goodbye. We didn't get an explanation. That could be enough to sever a locker room if you have players that are taking sides, if you have players that are, demanding answers and wanting to know, okay, what happened? It's just, it's a crack in the armor for a team that didn't get cracked by anything. Felt like a very unflappable team, and as they were continuing to face more and more adversity, it felt like they got stronger and stronger and stronger. Like they were just a more tight-knit group.
Yeah. Very fun to watch. Are you ready to jump to number 1?
Drum roll, please. Cass, your number 1 moment of the 2025 season.
I feel like it's so anticlimactic. Like we're like trying to make it exciting. We already gave them away.
It's going to be good.
My number 1, we were on the same page, but we ranked them differently. UConn taking on the heartwarming role of being kind of the favorite and the special winner. Paige Bueckers winning that championship. I think it's something that people can take into their own lives, that things aren't going to look the way that you think they're going to look. For Paige Bueckers, like she commits to UConn and everyone's talking about, well, the streak's definitely going to be broken. She's going to win 4 in 4 years. And then she doesn't even win one because of injuries and just issues in stores. Like it was an incredibly difficult time for them. And so to see her do finally win one after all of that adversity, to hear how sweet it was, to hear Gino talk about, what it meant to him. And it might be one of the more emotionally loaded championships he's won. 30 years after they win their first, like everything just lined up, I think, in this very special way. As a writer, like that is the kind of stuff that you love because the pieces fit and you're able to tell this incredible story. Like it's a storybook ending for Paige in that way. And as you said, to be there and to see that, to be at the pressers, like very special ending. It is ironic, though, that UConn became the year's heartwarming story.
Right? It's the big bad UConn Huskies. It's the team that everyone hates. It's the team that everyone wants to beat. But in that moment, this big bad UConn team ended up being like a sweet, lovable story. And it's really what it was. And it was special to see. It was heartwarming to see. And that's what I think I'm such a sucker for in sports. Oh, obviously we love the game, we love the strategy, we love the X's and O's, but pulling back the curtain and getting to see like human stories and how humanity intersects with the sports world, I think is extra special. It's what I love so much about covering sports. And I think that's what we saw wholeheartedly was, Paige feeling this sense of gratitude and the sense of like release of like, okay, I did it. In my last game in a UConn uniform, I can now call myself a champion. It felt like Gino felt a little bit of release as well, for that team, for getting back into the championship mix, knowing that we would get AZ and Sarah back the next year was so fun. It was like, okay, it's not even just a rebuild, it's just a reload. Like, let's get back on, get back to the winning ways, get back to a championship. So everything about it was just warm and fuzzy.
And then also for so many former players to be there. There was one point during the celebration, Brianna Stewart was kind of in the background. And of course, this is a player, anytime, as you brought up the drought, anytime you talked about UConn, it was like, well, they haven't won since Stewie. And Stewie was ready for that to be done. So you kind of felt like, they have this juxtaposition of a newspaper and it's like Huskies win championship because they always prepare them. And then Stewie in the back is probably like, thank goodness. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, like finally getting that kind of off their back a little bit. There was a photo that went viral, and it was Stewie and Sue Bird and DT sitting like courtside in the front row. And then on the bench was AZ, Sarah, and Paige.
Yes.
So it was such a cool moment of like the Hall of Famers, that when you think about UConn, you think of them trio, and then the here and now, the present time, the future of UConn. Cool little moment there. Okay, with my number one moment, it's way less.
Do you want, wait.
Oh.
Do you want me to give you the drum roll?
Please.
Drum roll, please.
And my number one moment of the year, way less sweet and mushy-gushy than Cass's. It was Kathy Engelbert dancing to Nuck If You Buck on the Stud Buds live stream at the All-Star game. That was so great.
What? No, what? Look at Kathy. Kathy started a ball!
Honestly, Stud Buds live streaming everything, like all of All-Star Weekend. It was, Napheesa Heidemann going around being like anything if it was just the slightest inconvenience. Like someone call Caitlin, someone get Caitlin on the phone.
It was the best.
It was so funny. And they're trying to get into clubs and they're like, call Caitlin. Kathy Engelbert getting down on the dance floor to Nuck If You Buck, if anything. Like it's way less funny if it's like Pink Pony Club. But no, it's Nuck If You Buck. So many great moments we got. And I think this greater sports world just fell in love with so many characters and personalities from the W because of the Stud Buds. I mean, by the end of the season, we had pink wigs in the stands. Everybody was loving everything they were doing.
It was wild times in Indianapolis with the Stud Buds.
Wild times.
To be at the Unrivaled pop-up, and I was there when Napheesa got there. I chatted with her a little bit. And so I stuck around because I was told that the stud buds were coming. I was like, okay, well, like, let's compare. Absolutely just wild reaction to the stud buds showing up. And they have like their live feed on the big screen projection in the room while they're entering. Absolutely insane. They were at a party the next night, and I think it was the one DJ Diplo was at.
Yeah.
And again, like them showing up and taking over the DJ stand, like you're right. We will never forget the stud buds of 2025. It'll never be the same either.
It'll never be the same. And like, that's not just like some random underground DJ who does this on the side. Like, you're talking about Diplo. Like, and they just Diplo's big. Like, you've definitely heard Diplo songs. You just didn't even realize that that's who it was.
Yes, that's true.
Like, top 40 songs. Like, we'll hear it on the radio all the time. And they just came in and they're like, no, this is our show now. But they became the faces of the league. Don't tell TP and Sid, but the stud buds are the faces of the league.
No, TP and Sid. The stud buds first. So at the Commissioner's Cup, they have availability on the court. You can walk up to anybody. And I was chatting with Courtney, and she was already talking to someone else. And like, she just kept talking, and she was like telling me, oh yeah, we're going to go live from All-Star and like 24/7 and all. And in my head, I was like, what?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
This makes no sense. Like, I was like, yeah, okay. And then stud buds became a headline thing.
They put themselves squarely on the map to the point where, like, I see any sort of stud buds content on social media, I'm sat. I am consuming that content. So that was our top 5. Do a quick little roundup. Mine was number 5, Fee's comments, the subsequent social media outrage and support, whichever side you were on. Number 4, Paige's ending to her UConn career. Number 3, Caitlin Chen's dad wearing a Paige Bueckers jersey to a Caitlin Chen versus Paige Bueckers game. The Fever's postseason run. And last but certainly not least, my number 1 moment, Kathy Engelbert dancing to Knuck If You Buck. Cass will give a quick little recap of yours.
Top 5. Number 5, Cheryl Reeve's ejection and crash out and the ensuing crash outs. Number 4, Caitlin Clark and her family watching Iowa's upset of Juju Watkins and USC. Number 3, Tennessee's first season under Kim Caldwell and everything that came with that. Number 2, the Fever season, winning the Commissioner's Cup and their locker room celebration afterward that poured out into the hallway. And number 1, UConn taking on the role of heartwarming story en route to a poetic championship for Paige Bueckers.
Love that for her. Such great moments this year. So many great moments that I couldn't even keep it into just 5. Because I feel like we are remiss that neither of our lists included anything to do with A'ja Wilson.
I knew that was going to come up.
She was the number 1 on my honorable mention. And I have written down in my notes, because I like to think of like, okay, not even just like a person or a player or a coach, but like a specific moment. My notes say A'ja Wilson, that's it. Just A'ja Wilson. Like, if we want to talk about, was she like the first ever NBA player to hit a 3 over a married couple? That was a great moment.
Oh, I'm going to take that one. That is one of my honorable mentions. I feel like that says everything. That's true. We did not put that shot in either of our top 5s. That is a top honorable mention. That shot over a married couple
to be up there for sure.
Iconic photo that she said she's going to put up in her hallway, and she doesn't know what photo of Bam is going up there, but she's putting that one up.
Bam doesn't need to be in there. Bam doesn't have a ring.
Poor Bam.
Hailey Van Lith's come back. If we want to go back to March, and I do have a soft spot in my heart for Hailey Van Lith as an LSU graduate. LSU was not a good place for her. It was not a good fit. It wasn't a good scheme fit. It wasn't. It was definitely a blip on her resume in college. And then she transfers to TCU. She has a massive 26-point game. Was it against Notre Dame to advance in the tournament? It just felt like Hailey Van Lith experienced a whole lot of bad in her time at LSU, whether it was basketball wise or on social media, whatever it was. And then she just blossomed. She was like a phoenix rising from the ashes at TCU. And it was great to see that. So she makes my honorable mention list.
She's about to be at Unrivaled. I'll throw out an honorable mention one for you.
Oh, yes.
What I like about college sports, I don't know how you feel about it, but there's such a purity. Like, it used to be the relationships, right? And I know that that's changing with money and it's becoming more professional and all of these kinds of things. But I think we can all think back to our 20s, whether we were in college or not, and how we had a slightly older or very much older mentor who helped us, who we still tap into. The relationship between Vic Schaefer of Texas and his players, specifically Rory Harmon, is so heartwarming. And so him saying when they reach the Final Four, I know I'm not their world, but they are my world. To watch him
so
help
sweet.
them cut the nets, and he was so specific about it. You're going to do exactly this, next player up. Like, he helped every single one of them. He makes the rounds to see everyone at the arena. He has these very funny moments where, like, he will get into a presser and he'll sit there for a few minutes and he's like circling all his stats, and sometimes the players are kind of looking at each other like it's like a funny thing.
Oh.
But that relationship will come to an end, at least as publicly as we know it, in the new year. So I thought that was a very special part of 2025.
Oh, it was. It is so sweet. And it kind of jogged my memory. I didn't have this written down in my honorable mentions, but it makes me think of Kenny Brooks and Georgia Amore's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to both of them independently of one another about each other. And I asked Kenny Brooks about Georgia Amore, and he was like, that's my mini-me. That's my little monster. That's my go-to girl. Like, he just talked so glowingly about her. He called it such a privilege to be her mentor and her coach. It was just such a sweet and a heartwarming relationship. And you figured that whenever Georgia Amore followed Kenny Brooks to Kentucky, you figured, okay, that's a great like player-coach relationship. She wants to stay with him. She's more loyal to her coach than she is her team. I have no problem with that in the slightest, but it's made even more sweet and special just hearing them talk about how much respect and love they have for one another, and the fact that we passed Kenny Brooks in Tampa when we were at the Final Four. We just gave him a wave and he was like, oh, hey guys. It's so sweet. I love Kenny Brooks.
Kenny is very nice. He is also very giving of his time with the media.
Yes, very much so. I have another honorable mention for us.
Do I?
Yes.
No, that was I just tried to keep it to one.
Oh,
but now I'm racking my brain because I feel like we're forgetting big things.
I have a list of like 10 things because I couldn't leave it to 5. So my next of my honorable mentions, everything about the Golden State Valkyries, everything.
Okay, that makes sense for you.
I love them. I have no relationship to the city of San Francisco or the Bay Area, but I love the Golden State Valkyries. I love the fact that they have the most perfect business model for an expansion team, that they had so much success financially and growing a fan base in year one. They found themselves in the postseason in year one, the first time that we've ever seen an expansion team do that in their inaugural year. I love Natalie Nakase. I love Violet the Raven, their mascot.
That's right.
I loved the reveal that they did, that they had a big egg, like a giant purple egg outside of the arena, and they made her hatch and she has cutie little glasses on. I think she's precious. I love this team, and I will be a Valkyries fan. They will always have a special place in my heart. Colors are cute. It is. I embrace it. Embrace the purples and the teals. They're cute and sweet. Let the boys have red and blue. Excuse me, Seafoam. Thank you. I had another one, Cass. This was specific to you and I. Getting called out by the Aces social media team. Well, because oh my God, no, I just got a text from Cass and she was like, well, feel like we deserved this one. And it was just a link to the Aces basically keeping every single receipt for our very fair criticism of the Las Vegas Aces at like the midpoint in the season. When they were like 500, they didn't look that good. They didn't have the same kind of killer instinct that they had had previously. So we're like, no, they're not a championship team. Yes, the Aces are dead.
You know what should be on that receipt, though? Like
date?
Like, graphics team, get on this. The date, where they were in the standings, how they were performing. It's like taking a receipt back to Target, you know, a year later and being like, I paid $3.99 for eggs. Well, yeah, like that's what they were at the time.
Right. And that's why the Aces could do an entire 3.5 minute long video of all of the receipts that they kept because the Aces were bad. Like there was plenty of ammo for them to work with. I mean, we're talking headlines, articles, interviews, podcasts, clips from shows on, you know, sports media networks. You know why you had all that? Because it was true.
3.5 minutes.
It was so long.
I didn't think of that part. That's hilarious.
And we were the very first. Like you open that video and bam, it's Cass's face talking about how the Aces aren't good. It is touche Aces, but I don't take it back. I meant what I said.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Thank you. Lovely to have you. I hope that you watched us give the Aces all of their flowers and for this show to unanimously pick them to win the WNBA finals because we did do that as well. That was conveniently overlooked.
We definitely put them in our top 5. Okay, don't rewind. They're there.
Oh, great. Even more bulletin board material. We didn't even put the Aces or A'ja Wilson in our top 5. Great. Now we're just making enemies everywhere.
Her shot over the married couple deserves to be in the top 5.
It does, and it deserves to be framed. Okay. Okay, last but not least, you bring up Vic Schaefer. I have my own favorite memory of Vic Schaefer as well.
Yes.
When Vic Schaefer claims that the SEC tournament was rigged.
Dude, I don't think he said specifically it was rigged.
But he alluded to it. I need to give me a moment. I want to find this exact quote. I should have done that coming into this show. But okay, so a little bit of background. It came down to a ping pong ball for the SEC tournament of who was going to have the number 1 overall seed. And it came down to South Carolina and Texas. So they went through all of the tiebreakers and it came down to, it was not a ping pong ball, a coin flip. Came down to a coin flip, which the fact that that's even a thing is hilarious. But there was this whole TV event of Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, flipping a coin to see who was going to get the number 1 overall seed. And so Greg Sankey flips it. He shows the coin. It was South Carolina. Vic Schaefer alluded to both sides had the South Carolina logo on it. And then he was like, why is this tournament in Greenville anyways? It's so close to Columbia, South Carolina. It's a home game for Columbia or for South Carolina. And it's like, Vic, this is your first time here. It's been in Greenville for how many years? Like over a decade, like for longer than South Carolina's been a powerhouse. So I just love that. It was a fun little dramatic little day.
Listen, I'm going to stand up for Vic a little here. Okay. Conferences are expanding and maybe some of these things should be looked at. I don't know.
I just Googled Vic Schaefer. This is fantastic for a podcast. Vic Schaefer SEC tournament coin flip. Oh, he said, why does the commissioner need to, quote, practice for 2 hours for a coin flip, suggesting that it may have been influenced? He called it unusual and an unnecessary process. It is an unusual process. I should have made this
number 1.
It's honestly.
While we're on the topic of Vic, I love his sayings, but also, if you know anything about Vic Schaefer, he is he ends everything with hook 'em horns, right?
Yep.
Because that's what you do.
Of course.
So in Birmingham, during the tournament, a reporter brings this up, and we're all sitting around waiting for Texas, and he's like, I just love that he said hook 'em horns. That was great. And we're all like, yeah, he does it every time.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like standard practice.
It's his thing. Yeah. Like,
you know, hey, like coach says so-and-so and then go insert mascot here. Roll Tide. Hook 'em horns.
Do you think that he is getting a coin for Christmas?
I think he may be getting coin flipping lessons for Christmas.
But he's not the one flipping the coin.
But
Maybe he's giving the commissioner coin flipping.
He's gifting it. He's not receiving it. He's gifting it to Greg Sankey, a 2-sided coin with 2 different logos. He said, quote, I mean, why do you have to practice for 2 hours? What are you trying to get accomplished? He said, I'm not going to hang him out, but I don't understand why it does take 2 hours to practice flipping a coin unless you've got some motivation for that. Thick.
Listen, you got to practice flipping the coin, because if you mess up, you're going to end up on some stupid video. And you don't need a 3.5, disc video about flipping a coin.
And that's what Greg Sankey said. He was like, I didn't want to be made a meme of that. I flipped the coin, then I dropped the coin. Then all of a sudden there's a bunch of conspiracies. But in trying to avoid a conspiracy, he created one. So never a dull moment in this sport. It's been such a fun year. It was fun to do some research and look back and be like, oh my gosh, yes, I remember that. That was so fun.
I like that Vic Schaefer made our lists, but in very different ways. I'm like, oh, so heartwarming. And you're like, he made fun of the coin.
Well, that's both sides of Vic Schaefer, right? I love him. He's such a sweet, sweet man. He's such a great coach. I love the relationship he has with his players. But then he's also, calling out the commissioner for rigging the SEC tournament. You got to take both sides of the coin. Pun intended. What a year, Cass. What a year it's been on this pod. What a year it's been in the WNBA. What a year it's been in women's basketball in general. And what a year and what a fun week it always is getting to hang out with you every single week. But we are not going anywhere. We're not taking a holiday break. We will be right back here next week with a full update on the latest on the WNBA. CBA will do a full update on the latest and biggest stories in women's college basketball. We'll be right back here on your preferred podcast platform and on the Yahoo Sports YouTube page in 2026 and beyond. We are Hoops 360. She's Cassandra Negley. I am Caroline Fenton. Have a great new year, and we'll see you soon.
If you take anything away from this podcast, the Aces and Asia Wilson were the number one.
Always, forever in our hearts.